Hello everyone, and welcome to my Days of Our Lives official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Clyde tries to make some deals. In a test room at the sanitarium, Johnny told Chanel about the job offer he would enter to be a first adjunct director on a Peyton Russo film. Chanel was thrilled for Johnny until he told her that the job would be in Los Angeles and that his answer was due by the coming day. Johnny admitted that he would known about the offer for a couple of weeks. Chanel got angry. Chanel asked if Johnny had planned to turn down the job and no way tell her about it at all. Chanel got serious enough to use Johnny's full name. John Roman D. Mara. Do you suppose you know what is stylish for me? For us? Johnny tried to claim that he had not wanted to add to Chanel's recent stress, but Chanel was not having that. She got indeed more worried when Johnny mentioned that he would bandy the job offer with his grandmother Marlena. Johnny apologized profusely to Chanel. He told his woman that he'd originally been excited about the occasion but also had panicked because Salem was their home. Johnny remarked that their lives were in Salem and that Chanel was happy there and that making Chanel happy was Johnny's main job. Chanel's mood softened, but also she realized that if Johnny had wanted to turn down the job, he'd have done it formerly. Johnny admitted to being disaccorded. He told Chanel that she'd have to make the decision. Chanel reiterated that she and Johnny were a platoon. Johnny was reluctant to extract Chanel for his dream. Chanel reminded him that she could singe Eiffels anywhere and that flour, milk, and chocolate chips were each available in California. Sweet bits L.A. It sounds kinda nice, do not you suppose? Chanel mused. Chanel also figured putting some distance between her and her mama could be a good thing. Chanel told Johnny to take the job if he wanted it, but for reasons Johnny could not articulate, he was not sure he actually wanted the job. Try, Chanel said. Johnny talked about his lifelong dream to become the coming Fellini, but he said that when he would try to really put commodity together, his grandmother's life story, the design went to hell. Literally. Chanel replied, well, perhaps that is what sets you piecemeal. I mean, how numerous directors can say that the factual devil obtruded with a product? Johnny had taken the experience as a sign that he would been dabbling in commodity he was not supposed to be. He talked about how Machiavellian Hollywood was and about the possibility that he was simply a delusional rich sprat. Where's all this toned mistrustfulness coming from? Chanel asked. Johnny explained that everything had been passing so presto, and he'd Chanel and the baby to consider. Failing alone was one thing, but Johnny didn't want to fail the three of them. Chanel expressed her confidence in Johnny's capacities as a pen and director. She told him that if effects did not work out, he'd at least know he'd tried, and they could always return to Salem. Chanel told Johnny she'd follow him. Your dreams are our dreams now, Chanel assured Johnny as she took his hand. Johnny thanked Chanel for supporting him. Chanel apologized for having gotten salty. Johnny conceded that he should have told Chanel about the offer sooner. So, what are you allowing now? She asked. Johnny called Peyton Russo and accepted the job. After the call, Chanel hugged Johnny excitedly and told him how proud of him she was. Chanel realized that it had been their first fight since they'd been married. Chanel wanted to accelerate up and get home so that they could make up. At the Brady pub, Roman told Kate that Eric would be moving into the vacant room upstairs. Kate was upset because she hadn't heard from Lucas in a while. Just as Kate said that she might no way see her son again, Lucas appeared and replied, or he could walk through that door right now. Kate hugged Lucas, relieved to see her son. Kate asked if Lucas was a free man, because he'd fulfilled his deal with Harris and the FBI. When Lucas didn't reply right down, Roman excused himself so that Kate and Lucas could talk. Lucas explained that his situation was still undetermined because Harris was busy recycling Clyde. Lucas told Kate that Chad had flown him home. Kate was angry with herself for trusting Harris. Lucas reminded her to keep her voice down, since Lucas was still technically a fugitive. Kate declared that they should get Lucas back into caching. Lucas refused to go back to the friary. He figured he'd be okay with going back to Statesville if Clyde was being transferred to Supermax. Lucas had abnegated himself to serving out the last time of his judgment. "I might as well pay full price for what I did to Sammy," Lucas said. After Lucas left the Brady pub, Kate told Roman that Lucas had gone to say farewell to Julie because he anticipated to be going back to captivity. "I am sorry to hear that," said Roman. Kate was skeptical. "Really?" she asked her hubby. Roman assured Kate that he believed Lucas had learned his assignment and that Harris shouldn't leave Lucas out to dry. Chad returned to the Horton house after having been in Montana. Julie was glad to see him. She asked Chad if Clyde had admitted to targeting Abigail. Chad allowed. Back to Clyde having told him that Abigail was still alive. Chad and Julie sat down, and Chad related the details of his discussion with Clyde. Chad told Julie that Clyde hadn't denied having gone to the DeMera manse specifically to kill Abigail. Chad told Julie that Clyde had claimed that Abigail was still alive. Chad explained that he'd been holding a gun to Clyde's head when Clyde had made his disclosure, so Clyde might have said anything at the time. Julie asked if Chad allowed. Clyde had prevaricated. Chad believed that it was presumably a taradiddle, but that a small part of him hoped it was true. Julie hugged Chad. After relating former medical cautions, Julie wondered if Dr. Rolfe might have had commodity to do with it. Chad was not sure what to suppose. He decided to go talk with Clyde again. Chad asked Julie not to mention any of it to Jack or Jennifer, so as not to get their expedience up. Julie agreed. Latterly, Julie hugged Lucas upon seeing him. Lucas explained that his status was unclear, and visiting Julie was parlous. Still, there was no way he'd go back to Statesville without having said farewell to Julie. Julie asked Lucas if he believed that Abigail might still be alive. Lucas could not figure how that could be true. "Could you?" he asked Julie. After Lucas left, Julie had a phone discussion with her Aunt Marie Horton. Julie talked about having advised Maggie about Constantine. Julie admitted to having made no progress with opening the time capsule, but reiterated her determination to break the riddle. Lucas returned to the Brady pub and informed Kate that he would said farewell to Julie. Lucas asked if Kate would hide him until they heard from Harris. At that moment, Roman returned. He told Kate and Lucas that he'd pulled some ISA strings. Harris had been communicated, and the terms of the deal had been made sanctioned. The balance of Lucas' judgment had been changed, and Lucas was a free man. Relief washed over Kate and Lucas. They seized each other in a joyful clinch, as a smiling Roman looked on. At the Salem police station, Rafe informed Clyde about all the new charges that were being filed against Clyde, including medicine haggling, tried murder, and breaking out of Statesville prison. Rafe told Clyde that formerly all the charges had been dealt with. Rafe planned to shoot Clyde into solitary confinement at a Supermax installation. Rafe got Clyde's attention when he asked what Clyde knew about Li Shin's murder. Clyde said the name Li Shin did not ring a bell for him. Rafe did not believe that. He reported that Clyde had had his mugs break Gabby's leg and hang her so that Stefan would do Clyde's bidding. Clyde claimed that Gabby had slipped in the shower, also teased Rafe by telling him that Clyde was picturing Gabby in the shower. Rafe told Clyde to shut up. Clyde asked Rafe why Gabby had killed Lee. Rafe replied, "She didn't. She had no motive. She's innocent." Clyde laughed. "The last thing your family is innocent." Rafe got angry. Rafe indicted Clyde of knowing who had killed Lee. Rafe told Clyde that Lee's blood had been set up on the Little Black Book.